Hello everybody, and welcome to our next video in the class. This video is going to be an introduction to the course material itself. It's going to also be an introduction to the syllabus and the course calendar, and also going to cover how to navigate the Blackboard site. I'm going to go ahead and apologize in advance, as I know that this video traditionally gets kind of long, and so please bear with me. If you need to pause it and come back to it, that's understandable. But there is a ton of information in this video that you need to be successful in this class. So please watch it through all the way to the end. I'm also going to mention something near the end of the video that could be a benefit to someone that makes it all the way through the end of the video, especially during week one. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And we're going to jump right into talking about the class. So, what you're seeing currently is the instructor view. So yours is going to look just a little bit different when you're going through the class, but not much. So the first thing that you should be coming to is this Start Here button. So when all else fails in this class, if you're not sure what to do, jump over to the tab and just kind of work your way down from top to bottom. And then within the sections, that's what you're going to do as well. Just start at the top, work your way down. So hopefully you found your way to Start Here, and hopefully you've already watched the video just kind of introducing myself. Just a couple things real quick on here. In addition to my instructor video, there is a quick bio, and inside this bio there is a link to my LinkedIn if you want to learn more. This is the placeholder for the video you're watching right now. So this is just giving you an overview of the overall class. This is a reminder that you need to check out your syllabus and your course calendar. If you click on these, they will download to your computer for you to open and print and do whatever you want with those. This is a reminder to set up your USI email on your phone, especially this year, when so many things are going digital. Please make sure that you have your email going to your mobile phone so that you're getting quick updates. And then this is a quick link to start working on Module 1, but there's another way that we're going to access this as well. So now, instead of jumping to the syllabus from here, I'm going to just show you kind of the next tab on this section as well. So if you click on syllabus calendar, then you will also just see the syllabus and just see the calendar. And here's a calendar at a quick look. And also, if you're interested in looking at the overall USI academic calendar, so like when the university might be closed and holidays and all that stuff, here's a quick link to that. So I'm going to open the syllabus and talk through it first. And then we're going to jump back to the Blackboard site and go through the most important aspects of the Blackboard site that you need to know. So just a couple quick things. I am not going to spend a ton of time going through all of the intricacies of the syllabus, because you could go back and read that yourself. But I do want to draw your attention to some of the most vital pieces of this class. So starting with just the most basic pieces of that, though, this is Social Work 222, the class called Social Welfare Emergence of the Social Services, which we'll talk about why it is named such in a minute. This is my name, email, and phone number. And email and phone number are going to be my preferred methods of contact. Normally, I say, come on face-to-face, get in here and let's talk. But during the COVID crisis, everything is kind of switching to virtual, and so at this time, Zoom and phone meetings are going to be preferred methods of contact. You'll see in office hours as by appointment. I am here at USI full time, so I am easily accessible. I'm checking my emails all the time, so but I still want to do by appointment only. So just email me or call me, and we'll get a time set up for us to meet on the phone or by Zoom. And just a clarifier, so many of you should know when you registered for this class that this is online only, but there are so many changes this semester to what courses look like that you may not know fully what an online class means, and every online class is a little bit different too. So let me just kind of start by giving you an overview of what our meetings look like, or what the time frames look like. So on time, you see it says online only. So we are not meeting in person at all. There is no hybrid function to this class where we're going to be meeting some days in class and some days out of class. That's not happening. We are not meeting online at particular times either. And so this class is going to be semi-self-paced within a module. So every week you'll be assigned a module, and then you'll have 1 week to complete that module. But the class will be on pace with one another, but you don't have to do the same things at the same time within the week. And I'll explain that a little bit further when we talk about what is expected within a week as well. So I hope that's clear. If it's not, feel free to reach out to me and I can help answer any questions. And then I also just want to briefly talk about the course description, just this first paragraph, not the rest of it, just to give you an insight of what is this class that you're about ready to take. So the course description, real briefly, this course explores philosophical and historical evolution of the American social welfare system. Course content covers public and voluntary efforts to deal with poverty and other social problems. Content addresses theories of political influence on social change. Content on social justice, oppression, discrimination, spirituality, and diversity are included. So what does all that mean? Basically, this class looks at a social issue that has existed in this world. Take, for example, poverty that is listed. And then it examines what the response to that social issue has been, both in a formal way and informally. And so this look at these, how we address social issues is the evolution of the social welfare programs and policies that we're going to be talking about. So social welfare is kind of the key term here, is regarding like, what is this class all about? There is a misconception, I think, oftentimes about what constitutes social welfare. Some people are familiar with some of the more common ideas like food stamps, Medicaid, Medicare, which you'll see listed down here. But then people also forget that things like student financial assistance, for example, is a form of social welfare. So we're going to look at social issues and then how individuals and societies have responded to addressing those issues in the form of social welfare programs and policies. Okay, so jumping down here a little bit, these are things I'm not going to go through, but list our course objectives, some of the learning objectives. It talks about the competencies of the class. So these are really related to anyone who is a pre-social work major. You have to work your way through competencies within the program. And this just talks about what competencies this class fulfills. One of the things I must draw your attention to is that the course textbook. So if you just want to draw your eyes back to just the tiny screen real quick, I'm holding up the book that you're going to need for this class. It's called A New History of Social Welfare, 7th edition. And if you are asking yourself, man, do I really need a textbook for this class? You absolutely do need a textbook for this class, especially with it being online and not having formal like in-class lectures. Then there's going to be a lot of self-paced, a lot of self-learning that is going to be involved. And so the quizzes and the discussion boards and the PowerPoints are all directly tied to the book itself. And so you absolutely need the text. So please make sure that you get that as soon as possible. As mentioned before, this is a web course. All things will be done online through the web on Blackboard. Minimum technology, a lot of the basics, you need a computer, high-speed internet. Wouldn't hurt to have microphone and webcam as well, especially if we're doing any Zoom meetings. And then regarding instructor feedback, one of the things I'll say about this is that you'll get it in multiple ways. The two that I want to specifically draw your attention to is the form of announcements. So I have found that as we're going through and doing discussion boards and things like that, that it is not efficient for me to go through and focus in on one discussion board comment and spend 10 or 15 minutes trying to text out an explanation to that one student that the rest of the class is not going to see. And so what I do is I take in all the information, see what kind of common themes are popping up, and then I address the whole class to help like address common misconceptions or to really drive home key points. And I do that through announcements so that everyone has access to that information as opposed to just one person getting feedback. The second thing is that you will get individual personal feedback on individual assignments, primarily the timeline assignment and the timeline paper. We'll talk about those here in a minute. The timeline assignment itself will come first, and the feedback that I'll give you will directly impact the way that you approach your timeline paper. So definitely make sure that you check that out. So when you click on your grade for that in the grade section, there'll be a place where you can see instructor comments. So you're going to want to look at those comments as well. Those are going to be the primary forms of feedback that you'll be receiving in this class. But if you need individual feedback beyond what you're getting, contact me and we'll talk through any sort of concerns or misconceptions that you may have. Next is the breakdown of the class. Just a couple quick things here. One, just know that we go off a total point system. So if you want to know how many points you need to reach a certain threshold based on how many points you currently have, it's really a matter of addition and subtraction. So if you have 300 points in the class and we have 100 points left in remaining assignments that have not been completed, and you want to know how many points you need to get to the B threshold, you know you need to get at least 36 of those remaining 100 points. So it's always really easy to know where you're at in the class regarding where you need to get the grade that you want. If you are a pre-social work major, know that the minimum grade that you're allowed to earn in this class is a C, as this class is a prerequisite for admission and requires a C in this class. The next thing is, what are those point breakdowns? How do we get to 420 points in the class? There are 14 quizzes, 5 points each, basically one every week that you'll be doing. And I'll talk about those in a minute. There is a timeline assignment and timeline paper, which are directly tied to one another. And then there are going to be weekly discussion boards. There are 15 of those, 8 apiece. And you'll notice that there are 14 quizzes, but 15 discussion boards. The reason for that is during that 15th week, you'll still be doing a discussion board, but instead of a quiz, there will be a final exam worth 100 points. There's also going to be 30 professionalism points as well. So let me talk about what those points mean. So regarding professionalism, you see that it's on there for 30 points. A couple things I'll say about this is that regarding professionalism, it is on there as a bit of a padding grade for you, so this should really work in your favor, but I can use it at my discretion if I'm having concerns about your professional behavior in the class. If you are sending a lot of inflamed comments in discussion boards and being disrespectful to individuals, then not only will that warrant a one-on-one conversation, but it could also impact your professionalism grade as well. The other piece is that in your discussion boards, you are going to be required to do an original post and 2 peer responses. Any week that you do not do both of those things, not only will affect your discussion board grade, but for each week that you do not participate 100% in the discussion boards, you'll also lose points in professionalism as well. The idea being that a professional should be following through and completing their task in a timely manner, and communicating with the instructor if for some reason there is an issue that would prevent you from doing that. So we're just building good professionalism habits within this class. The quizzes, there are 5 points apiece. The questions come directly from the readings. So every quiz question that you can find almost verbatim within the text. The quizzes, once you open them, they are untimed and you can save them and come back to them. So there shouldn't be any reason that you're not knocking these quizzes out of the park if you're doing your readings. I know that they're only 5 points apiece, but it's a good way just to kind of ensure that you are doing the readings. And the other thing is I don't blow these off because the points factor in, I think, for like roughly 12% of your overall grade. So definitely don't dismiss them, because if you're not doing your quizzes and you just think you're going to write out your exam grade or your timeline grades, and you're really going to sell yourself short and automatically knock yourself down a whole letter grade. The next thing is, you'll see real quickly timeline assignment and timeline paper. There's going to be a separate video about these as well, because they are so point heavy. I want to make sure that you have the ability to go back and to look and hear about those more in depth. Talking about those weekly discussion boards, I'm going to actually read this section because there are things I want to make sure to draw your attention to. I've seen weekly discussion boards done really well, and I've seen them done really poorly. And I think what we have here regarding the instructions for the discussion boards is going to give us the best outcome in navigating the discussion boards. So in short, each chapter contains reflective questions. To answer the questions, you'll need to submit a solid original post in the form of full sentences, 1 to 2 paragraphs in length. Bullet points will not be accepted. You must respond to a minimum of 2 peers to receive full credit for 8 points total for the week. You'll receive 4 points for your original post and 2 points apiece for each of your 2 peer responses. The discussion boards are post-first format, meaning you must develop your original thought before having access to your peers' post. For reference, I can see anyone who submits a blank post to access other discussion boards and then goes back to edit their post or submit their original post. I'm watching you. So the reason I say that, I know that this maybe sounds a little bit catty, but what has happened in the past is someone won't do their readings. And what they'll do is they'll see the questions, they won't understand what the question is asking. So then they go to someone else's discussion board, they read through what they put, and then they do their best to reword their answer in their own format. And it's really obvious when it happens, it's not a good learning opportunity for you. It's not allowing you to synthesize the material or to understand it in your own way. So, that makes you kind of vulnerable because you're going to have to post something without knowing how other people have interpreted that same question. And what I'll say is, I would much rather you post something that you don't fully understand or that you missed the mark on, or maybe you interpreted it in a very different way. I'd rather you have your own original thoughts than to regurgitate something else that someone else has said. The idea of the peer responses is that maybe someone will respond to your post and make comments towards what you put that might help reframe what you had put or the way that you had thought about something, and vice versa when you're making responses to others. So just be aware of that, please. And then make sure that when you're commenting on other individuals' stuff that you're just focusing on the content. Within social work, and when we're talking about social issues and things can get really personal or can touch close to home. So only focus on the content, not on the individual making the post. A couple other quick things. Here in the black and yellow, it says your original discussion post must be submitted by Thursday at 11:59. Peer responses due Sunday. The reason I put this, I'm not going to be grading your assignments on Friday and like 12:01 or anything, but I want individuals to have their post submitted on Thursday so that there's at least 3 days for individuals to go back and see a library's worth of discussion board posts that they can choose to respond to. In the past, what happens is you have a couple, 3 or 4 students who are always really early submitters, and they always end up having to respond to their own, not their post, but within those 3 or 4 students are responding to each other's post. Because no one else is submitting. They're waiting until Sunday at 11 p.m. to submit their post, and then they're shocked when there's not another thing for them to respond to. So make sure that you get your post out there on Thursday and then have your responses in by Sunday. Also, when you are submitting your responses, please avoid things that are really generic, like, Brian, I totally agree with what you said here, or Samantha, great job with your explanation. Those are generic and they offer nothing to the conversation. You are more than welcome to say those things, but please back it up with a little bit extra regarding like why you agree. Like, I too have also thought this X, Y, and Z thing because of whatever, right? So like just add detail to your comments. And then the last thing that is being formally graded in this class is a final exam worth 100 points. Please know that a lot of the questions that are going to pop up on your final exam are going to be some of the most relevant questions from your quiz, your weekly quizzes. So if you get something wrong, please make sure that you go back and understand why you got it wrong, because you are likely going to see that question again in the future as well. The final exam will also have some true, false, and short answers and things that we'll talk about later in the semester. Assignments are always due Sunday by 11:59 p.m. So you basically have 1 week to do everything within your module, and everything is due Sunday at 11:59. There is a bonus opportunity in this class. It might be a little bit harder this semester since there is more social distancing, and have been more things canceled just across the county and across the state and across the nation, really. But anytime that you engage in something that promotes social advocacy, that helps address a social issue, that promotes social welfare, social wellness, anything like that, if you take a selfie of yourself doing that thing and then explain within a bonus discussion board post why that thing is important, then you will get 5 bonus points. I'll allow up to 5 bonus opportunities, so up to 25 points. So we're talking about a quarter of a final exam. We're also talking about half of the points for one of your timeline assignments. So if you're struggling in the class to get your points, get out there, get active, do something that promotes social and civic responsibility, and then get rewarded for that. Okay, the last things on the syllabus itself, departmental college policies. So I'm not gonna go through and read all of these. Just make sure that you go through and check these out, especially things like the late assignment policy. I will just briefly address this. Make sure that you get everything done on time. Like I said, you have a full week, so there's no surprises. If something has occurred, please contact me. Communication is your best course of action. I tend to be really flexible. I think this fall semester is the key word is going to be flexibility. So with that said, knowing that I can be flexible, don't automatically try and push those limits. You need to have like a valid reason if something has come up to where you can't get something submitted on time. And if you're communicating with me early and often, then that is where you're going to receive the best feedback from myself. So please make sure that you're maintaining that contact with me. The rest of the stuff on here, a lot of policies, accommodations, if you need any sort of accommodations for disability, that's on here. This talks about Safe Assign a little bit, which will be something that we utilize for our timeline assignments. If you need technical support, if online classes are new to you, or if you're having issues, here are just some quick links for technical support, academic policies, things like that. Here is a link and information to the counseling center. I know that during the fall semester and since COVID has come into our lives, that anxieties have peaked. And along with that, any number of other things, just like personal stressors, depression, all sorts of stuff could be happening right now internally. So if you need some additional assistance, the counseling center is a fee that you're already paying for on a semesterly basis. So utilize your resources, get in there, get some free help, and talk to somebody as well. Some other information on here about other departments on campus. Just real quick about the inclement weather. Probably won't run into anything in the fall anyways, but sometimes if there is crazy weather and the university shuts down for whatever reason, it's not going to really affect our class with it being online. If there is something that just like crazy happens and like maybe our infrastructure shuts down because of like some huge power outage or something, then I'll get whatever sort of information out to you as fast as I can. And then, as I said, flexibility would certainly be the key term there. But certainly just assume that with this being an online class that you need to have your stuff done regardless of what's happening weather-wise with the university. Okay. So the course calendar is listed on here also, but just to show you quickly, it's also on the Blackboard site as a quick link on here, and then it also exists as a link. So with the course calendar, you'll see that the chapters and the weeks really line up. So week 1, chapter 1, week 2, chapter 2. This date is when all the content becomes available. This date is when everything is due. So this is the Sunday at 11:59 p.m. that you're seeing. And that stays true all the way through week 15, but that is Thanksgiving break, so I don't post any information for that time frame. And then when we come back on week 16, that is when you're going to do chapter 15 information, which will be your final exam and your last discussion board. And then all assignments are, if there are going to be any late assignments that you have pre-approval for, Those will have to be done on the by December 11th. Okay, so I know that was a lot of information, but I'm going to jump back to the Blackboard site and we're going to finish talking about how to navigate the course as a whole. So the next tab on here is announcements. From here on out, you're gonna, when you click on the social work page, or when you click on the social work 222, this is gonna be your landing page. So make sure you check to see if there are any new announcements. I'll also send them via email as well. So if you get something in your email, you can come back to our announcements page if you have deleted that or something, but make sure to check out the announcements. Office hours, really what this link has is information about Zoom, and it has a link to my specific Zoom meeting link. So email me first or call me to set up a meeting, and then when it's time to join, you can use this link, or I'll send you a link in an email and we can have our meeting via Zoom. Okay, the next area, course content, units, weekly content. This is going to be where you're spending most of your time in this class. A couple things I'm going to say is that when you click on week 1, it's going to look kind of overwhelming. Week 2 is also kind of full, but really the first 2 weeks, we're getting a lot of information out all at once. You have to get familiar with the course, you have to get familiar with the syllabus, you have to get familiar with so many things initially. And so week 1 and week 2 are going to look a little bit heavier, and then things are going to kind of level off for you as the course goes on. So if it feels like a lot at the beginning of week 1, give it a couple weeks to level out, and you're going to find that it's really manageable. I'm really cognizant of making sure that my course is easy to follow and that it's predictable, because I know online classes can be really chaotic sometimes, and you like lose where to find stuff. So you'll find consistency within this class. Week 1, so do need to make a couple changes to this before the course starts, but each week you'll see just an overview of your task, the assignment, when things are due. So like you get to see at a glance, like week 1's got a lot. When we look at some other weeks here in a second, you'll see that it's not as much, and it's stuff that you're already doing anyways. It's linked to the syllabus, it's linked to the NASW Code of Ethics. So down here, this second section, this is where things start to look similar from week to week. So you're going to see a PowerPoint on here. Every module is going to have a PowerPoint. The PowerPoint is built off of the book content. And here's how I suggest approaching each week. I suggest starting with your PowerPoint. Open it up, go through, read for key terms, key themes, any sort of key ideas that you might run across within the PowerPoint. And then after you look at your PowerPoint, then go to your book and do your assigned readings, because now that you have primed your brain to look for these ideas, you won't get as lost in the minutia of the weekly content, right? It can be really easy to go down a rabbit hole in your reading, get sidetracked from main ideas. The PowerPoint draws you back to, here are the things that you really need to focus on. So, so that's my suggestion. After you complete your readings, and then you'll do your quizzes. Like I said, 5 questions each. And once you open the quiz, you can save the quiz and come back to it. It's untimed. And so like I said, there shouldn't be any reason that you shouldn't be successful. The quizzes will become available at the start of that week. So if you're trying to work ahead, for example, you're going to see it on my screen here in a second, but you won't see quiz 2 right now because it's not available to you yet. It'll open at the beginning of week 2. The discussion boards all are already open so that you can see all of those. This is a quick link to that discussion board. I'm also going to show you a quick way to get to the discussion boards as well. So you can click here and navigate to your discussion boards, but on the side tab, there is also a section called Discussion Board Quick Access. So if you just want to pop in, like maybe you've been working on the modules and stuff, and you just need to pop back in to do your discussion board post, or maybe you're just coming back in to do your peer responses, then this is just a quick way to access all those discussion boards. A couple quick things. Chapter 1, this is going to be the one discussion board that has nothing to do with the content of the class. This is just to get you familiar with the discussion board posting. It's a bit of an introduction to yourself. And I think you'll enjoy this one because we're trying to figure out a little bit about who you are based off the music you listen to. So, so chapter 1, the first discussion board should be pretty fun for you, and the rest of them will be more content heavy. At the beginning of this video, I said if you stuck around till near the end, there would be a benefit to you. So here's the benefit, is that within this class, for the timeline assignments that I've referenced a couple times, you're going to do these 2 projects based off a social welfare program or policy. Now, within the class, every student is only going to choose 1 topic, and those topics will not be the same. So like if someone is doing food stamps, then another student cannot also do food stamps or TANF, as you'll come to know it in this class. So, there is a first come, first serve to choose your topic. So if you've made it this far and you are interested in going ahead and laying claim to your topic, you'll come in here to the discussion board post. You'll click on here. It has instructions about how to lay claim to your topic. The rest of the class is not going to be exposed to this idea until week 2. So if you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. I want to award you or reward you by giving you kind of first dibs on one of these assigned topics here. So, and then I mentioned earlier the bonus discussion board post. It is located all the way at the bottom of the quick access. Okay, so just real quick, I'm going to jump right back to the units weekly content, just so that you see another example. So here's week 2. You see the same overview, and just work your way down, right? So you'll see different things that pop up. This is a quick link to the timeline assignment because we need to start thinking about that by week 2. This is a link to that discussion board I just mentioned. You'll also see occasionally I'll add supplemental videos if I think there is something, supplemental videos or readings, so I feel like there's something that really adds to the content to drive home the ideas for that week. So this is, for example, is a quick video about what they call the person and environment approach, which is a key concept in social work. And then, like I also said earlier, you're going to find that later weeks, things get a little bit thinner and a little bit easier once we get past the timeline assignments. So the class is really heavy on the front end and then gets a little bit more easy to manage as the weeks go along. But the format stays the same: PowerPoints, quizzes, discussion boards. Like I said, you'll see right here, it says availability hidden from students. It exists, it's ready, but it's not going to open until the start of this week. So this is week 9, so October 19th is when you would first have access to this quiz, just so that you kind of have an understanding of how things open and close in here. Then you'll have two tabs for your timeline assignment and paper, which there will be separate videos for those. These are old videos, so I'll go back and replace those for our class. Then the last thing on here is just a couple helpful things for you. There's a check grades section, so you can come in here and check all of your grades. The calendar, this can be really beneficial for you. Let me try to jump ahead. So if you're looking at September here, this is where we're going to start seeing some due dates and stuff. If you click on the calendar, and you can choose your other calendars from Blackboard as well to pull stuff in or not. But right now I just have the Social Work 222 stuff coming in. And so you can see at a glance when stuff is due. So chapter 1, chapter 2, all that kind of good stuff. Chapter 4, down here, our 4th week, you'll also see the first timeline assignment, part 1 is due. So that's just a quick reference on a visual due date, basically. Here's a link to sending emails. If you find it necessary to email anyone within the class as well, then you can do that. My email is also just located, as I mentioned, in the syllabus. So, and then we have some resources as well. Probably the most beneficial one is if you don't have your book yet, there is the first 3 chapters, excuse me, in PDF format on here. You're going to need your book. I'm not going to post any more than the first 3 chapters, but this should help get you over any sort of hump as you're still acquiring your book if you've not done so already. Then there's a link to the Rice Library information. The social work department has some information on here as well. There is a section that's going to direct you to the USI COVID's website if there are changes that you need to consider as well. Tech tutorials, Blackboard tools, all that kind of good stuff. So I know that's a lot of information. I said at the beginning this was going to be a lengthy video, so I apologize for that. I know It's really easy to tune out in this format. I get that. I'm sensitive to that. So I'm sorry, there's just a lot of information we had to get out there up front. So, but I want to thank you for sticking out to the video. If you made it this far, I super appreciate that. Hopefully you can come back to this video if you have any questions. But if you have questions that this video didn't answer, just email me, call me. We can set up a Zoom meeting if necessary, whatever. Your success is really my top priority, and I truly do mean that. So if you have any issues with the class, please contact me. I've taught this class many, many times, and with great success. The students, once they get the hang of the online format, they really seem to excel. So just stick it out and reach out to me when you hit those sticky points, and we'll get through them together. All right, I want to thank you for watching this video. Tune into a couple others that we'll have coming up as well. I'm going to stop this one here for you. So thank you again, and I look forward to seeing the ongoing work that you're going to be doing in this class. Thanks.